All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Workbench, your resource rich weekly podcast and newsletter. Excited to be joined by Bobby Vickers, the founder of Dorvana. As always, the Workbench is brought to you by Lead Truffle. Lead Truffle helps you convert your website traffic and missed calls into paying customers using 24/7 AI powered texting. Bobby, thank you for joining us today. How's your week been so far?
It's great. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you
Great.
having me.
Yeah, of course. Bobby, tell us a little bit about Dorvana. It doesn't seem like you're the traditional garage, come and fix my broken garage door. You guys are doing something a little different here. So tell us a little bit about you, Bobby, and then let's hear about what you're building with Dorvana.
Yeah, so I have been in home services for over a decade. I grew up in a family owned remodeling company where we went from 3 to about 16 million over a few years. I left that to partner with a guy that's in manufacturing because I love the idea of making something. I think there's scalability there. I think just long term, it's a really good business to be in. And so, our model as a garage door company is to build what we install. So, most of our products, most of the garage doors that we sell and install are built by us. And then we also service and install garage doors from other kind of name brand national steel manufacturers across North Texas, and then we ship our doors across the country. So I actually have a big shipment heading out to Phoenix, Arizona right now. So kind of a neat business to be in. Local services, you can only do so much, right? Your truck has to get you there where when you make something you can put it in a lot of different places.
Yeah, now manufacturing a garage door sounds like a alien language to me. In terms of how you go about making what can be a huge item seems just hard for me to comprehend. So for those that are listening that run a home service or just entrepreneurs in general, like how do you make a garage door?
Yeah, so one, I think it starts with differentiation. So for us, we wanted to go direct to as tightly as possible. So for us, that was kind of the impetus behind it, was that we wanted more control. We wanted to control lead times coming out of COVID with home services. That was tough. If you were in the window and door business, the glass business, things took a long time and you were at the mercy of your distributor or manufacturer. So we just knew we wanted more control. You see these DTC e-com brands, Allbirds, all these other ones that just had a lot of success going direct. And so that's kind of where it started, was how we wanted to service our customer, how we wanted to go to market. And then I just am very fortunate. I've known a guy for a decade that was in this business and manufactured these garage doors from the time he was a teenager to now he's in his 40s, right? So 20 years of manufacturing experience. And we linked up and we're just like, hey, let's build a brand, right? That's super cliche to say. But garage door industry is very fragmented, very fractured. Lots of couple $100,000 a year guys that are really affordable, really quick, really hyper local, but don't have much going outside of that. So we said, hey, let's build something and grow it to where rather than being acquired, we can be the acquirer, because whatever we acquire, we can set up with a different kind of go to market mechanism within our industry. So that's kind of how it started. We were just very laser focused on what we wanted to do, who we wanted to do it for. And we kind of had this combination of marketing and sales experience with manufacturing. So we just did it. And we launched the brand in 2020. I was a CMO of a remodeling company for a while and left that gig once there was enough business over here to support me. And we haven't looked back.
Let's walk through the details of the process of manufacturing and installing a garage door. And correct me if I'm wrong, do you focus mostly on new builds?
Yes, primarily new
Okay.
construction.
So I think you brought up a couple examples for me when I was first joining the workforce, living in New York City. The Warby Parker store was like the coolest place on earth. The Allbirds store. These
Yeah,
people were disintermediating the traditional supply chains and skipping all the hoopla in the middle and just saying, "Hey, look, we're going to get these glasses manufactured and sell them directly to the
right,
end consumer."
right.
So it sounds like you're playing on sort of a similar mechanism there with Dorvana. So for those like I've never bought a new house. I've
Sure.
never been really involved in building a house. Can you explain to us, like, what is the traditional process of getting a garage door made and installed versus how you guys are doing it?
Yeah, so probably for the end user, it's not that different. So if you own a home and you want something new, you're going to call a couple of companies. They'll send you some pictures, a brochure, and then you can pick from that product line, that brochure. That company will buy it from the manufacturer or a distributor. They'll tack on whatever their markup is. Most home services can't operate under 30% gross profit margin. So that's going to be like your bottom. And most of them want to shoot and hit a target of 60. So that's kind of where they want to be. So if you think about that as the homeowner, you have a manufacturer that has to make money, you have a distributor that has to make money, you have a company that has to make money, and you have a sales rep that has to make money. So that's normal. Windows, doors, pretty much anything on your home, you're not dealing direct with the manufacturer because if you're good at manufacturing, you're probably not good, but you don't want the headache of dealing directly with the end consumer. So if you're GAF shingles, right, you could sell direct. The low price point would be lower, but you'd have to have a sizably different staff and a different makeup. So for homeowners, they're used to going through this process. So we just were like, well, let's circumvent that. Let's say, rather than you going and paying 3 levels of markup, why don't you just work direct with us? And the same thing for builders. Why don't you just work direct with us? We can make this product. For steel, that's a different business. So whenever you get into steel manufacturing, there's just a lot more to it. And the big boys, the billion-dollar companies, are in steel. So CHI was a company that I think was bought by KKR in the past few years for a multi-billion-dollar price tag. So that's the sort of exit that you can get if you're the manufacturer. So I'm not saying we're going to go there, but it's like there is an opportunity to be a manufacturer, to make a good product, make good money, and grow and acquire. Renewal by Andersen is another model that was in the window space. So Andersen is the largest window manufacturer. So they took this excess material and they created a brand, Renewal by Andersen, and they sold it direct to homeowners. So typically with Andersen products, you're going to go through that 3-step process of retailer, distributor, manufacturer. Occasionally, you'll be able to get to a retailer that buys direct. And they said, why don't we just go direct? So they created over $1 billion worth of value by selling product direct to homeowners in a retail setting. And they corporately own a lot of stores around the country. And then they sell franchises to markets that they don't want to be in or either just can be better serviced by franchise. So home services for bigger ticket items is pretty standard, but that's kind of how it looks.
The reason most people don't try to own the entire supply chain from I'm
Mm.
building the door to I'm dealing with Johnny homeowner and scheduling the install and going to his house is because it's rife with headaches, right? Like it's just you need to operate 4 different business models under one roof. To your point, you need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to build the dang thing and then have the customer support infrastructure to deal with the end customer and the billing and everything there. So how does Dorvana handle that? How are you guys able to focus on the entire chain there?
I would say that we try, right? We're not perfect. Tesla is like the easiest example for something that I think everybody today understands, right? So for us, we don't have outside salespeople. We have inside salespeople. If you call, you can get a price over the phone. There's no in typical home services. That mechanism is somebody has to set an appointment. They have to come out and meet with you. They need 2 or 3 hours of your time because they have to sell you on the value of whatever it is they're trying to install, right? And then for us, we just don't do that. So that's one thing that separates us. And why we did that was because the business that I was in before, that's exactly the model that we used, and I didn't like it. So I don't want someone to come into my house to sell me something. It just, I will do enough of the legwork on my own to kind of know what I want before I call someone. So I don't want someone in the house. And home services are notoriously bad for like high pressure, high tactic sales because the guys make really good money that sell them. So for us, it was just wanting to sell in a way that we wanted to buy. That was first. And then the way that we do it is we use Jobber, and Jobber has been a great partner for us. They have a wonderful set of tools and resources. And so for us, it makes us really easy to build a product catalog that we can price pretty much anything that we sell. Anybody on our team can do that. So one, it was just wanting to sell the way that we wanted to buy. And then two is you just using technology that's available to make it easy and fast. And the same thing goes for the dispatching and the service. All of that is wrapped into Jobber. And so for us, it's not that hard. It's different. The last company that I was at, we had probably 9 salespeople. And so that was a lot to manage. So now like we'll do 2.5, 3 million this year, and there's 2 of us. So I don't know, it works. It's just the way we wanted to do business. And when you're the boss, you get to decide how you do business, right?
You're speaking to a software person, a technologist, and prior to starting my current company, we ran a plugin for Jobber. If you ever go into the Jobber app store, look up Tooldesk. That's our old company.
Okay.
Still
Okay.
existing. Still some people sign up. Moved on to a different app now, but I think technology is so crucial when used in the right way. You can really do so much more with so much less. I'm using technology every day for the management of the podcast and newsletter, and there's just so much leverage to be gained by using technology. What technology do you find is crucial for Dorvana? Jobber sounds like a great CRM for the B2C side. What other technology software otherwise are you finding most impactful for you nowadays?
Yeah. So I think technology is great. But if you don't answer your phone or return a text message or reply to an email, technology will not save you, right? So like there's absolutely no technology that's going to have integrity and be responsive. And now, granted, there are some AI tools that hop in there and do that for you. For us, we think that Jobber is a great tool up until you have a lot of people to manage. It's just not built to report on lots of granular details. So I think for us, Jobber's great. I think the other stuff that we use daily, it's really a basic stack, right? Like Ring Central or Open Phone are both great phone services. Texting, auto texting to missed calls to voicemails, like just kind of table stake stuff that you have to do if you're in business. We're not really that tech heavy. Um, we make things. We design in CAD, right? So shop drawings and things like that. That's old technology. So for us, we're not really that advanced. We're just kind of dialed in on doing it a certain way. And so, we've looked at AI receptionists, we've looked at different AI integrations, we've looked at different SMS follow-up responders, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. And there's probably a place for that. But for us, we're so locked into what we're doing that we just do it, right? And then like we're onboarding somebody new, and it's like, no, it's your job. Like you could be more productive with something that would do your job, then I wouldn't hire you. I would hire that tool or that person, right? So like your job is to follow up. Your job is to be on it. So we are not that tech heavy.
You probably have a uniquely insightful finger on the pulse for the housing market right now. You are working with new builds, you are installing garage doors when people are putting up new communities. More broadly, like how's the housing market looking right now?
So I think the housing market at the top and the bottom makes it through unscathed relatively. I think if you're selling 1.2 million plus, you're probably okay. If you're selling entry level, sure, right? Because there's not enough supply to meet demand at those two ends. In the middle, it's tough. So we work with builders of all sites, of all sizes, and the ones at the very top. Yeah, these people don't mortgage their houses anyway; they just stroke a check, and so that's one thing. And so those projects are still going. Those land costs They have to do something with them. And then down at the bottom, where we are in North Texas, if your home is 400,000 or less, it's going to move in a week. If your home is 650, 30 days, maybe it doesn't sell. So I think it's very hyper local. I think it's wise to talk to builders and see what they're doing. I think the real canary in the coal mine are the developers, like where the land purchase is happening. That's usually announced, relatively often. So a lot of DFW is being bought up, and it may take them a few years to develop it. So if the pockets are deep enough to buy hundreds of acres in North Texas, they can withstand anything that's coming. It's really the folks in the middle that build maybe 20 homes a year that are in that 550 to 900,000. I think that's tough, at least in North Texas, but the bottom and the top will be fine always.
In terms of the business breakdown between Dorvana, I see on the site that you guys sell. It looks like you can buy openers and buy products from you. Is that right?
So our approach to business is that if we sell something, we want you to know that we sell it. And so we
Okay,
don't necessarily sell those parts
got it.
as like something that we would drop ship or send to someone.
Right.
We have those requests, but the economics don't make sense for anyone. So what we do is we just create product detail pages for everything that we do in case somebody's looking for that thing as a replacement or new construction install. They just see that we have it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask around the breakdown. So, just from a business perspective, like how, because I think most people there's home services that are just like pure service. There's going to be some
Yeah.
time and materials. There's going to be a lot of very material heavy cost businesses for you, and like thinking about the business model and like how much of the revenue and like how much of the revenue for you is like marking up equipment versus just the service versus that breakdown there, because I think some people, they just want to buy a stump grinder and then that's kind of a fixed cost, and then just it's all about time, right? So how are you breaking down
Love it.
costs versus time versus those differences?
Yeah. So for us, most garage door companies want to be service only, right? So most garage door companies, they want a phone call when something breaks, they go fix it, and then there's like a hourly rate that they want to hit, and then there's a markup on materials. So let's say that your garage door breaks, you have a spring break. A lot of companies will want to charge you, $450 for the spring plus $125 for the guy. That's fine. That's great. Those margins are great. PE doesn't acquire businesses like us. They don't acquire manufacturing. PE typically hates new construction in home service deals. They don't want people that work with builders because they're under the impression that the margins are really low. But what we exchange for low margins are lifetime value. So for us, it's just, we like the lifetime value of dealing with a builder that's going to build 5 to 10 high value projects a year, and the acquisition cost to go get that homeowner and to sell a service with parts, there's a lot to that, right? So you have to have a pretty sizable marketing budget to compete with these companies. And so for us, the way we look at it is just, what does it cost to build the door? What does it cost to install it? We sell that bundled. For anything that we do, we bundle it. We do not separate labor and materials. We think that that's problematic. Internally, we know what those numbers are, what we want to hit per man hour. But for homeowners, if a guy spends 10 minutes fixing something, they don't want to pay $100 for labor. They're like, he was here 10 minutes. It's like, well, that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for a thing that works, not how long it took to fix it. So for us, we bundle. But for clarity, again, most home service companies, especially in residential, they want to remodel. There's just typically higher margins because you're dealing with a homeowner. You also have to be more expensive because you've spent more money to acquire that lead, right? And then also too, you have to pay a salesperson that went out. So even in service businesses, most of the technicians are commissioned, and so you just start stacking up these costs, and that's how you can get to a $3,000 replacement window, or you can get to $1,000 garage door service. It's because everyone has to make money and someone has to pay for it.
We had someone on the show called Nick. Hancock, the mattress guy, on Twitter, and a part of his business is calling out some of the inefficiencies and markups in the mattress game. I bought a mattress for my bedroom from him. Good guy, guest to the show.
Love it.
What's like the one big call out you'd make to a potential homeowner, someone who's building a house? Like, what should they know
I got
about
you.
installing
I
a
got you.
garage door that, yeah, they should be aware of?
And I would say this is broadly speaking, just to be aware of in home services. Don't ever pay someone with Zelle. Don't ever pay a technician's phone number. Okay. Like a lot of business we get is just because of a level of professionalism. And so I would say to any homeowners, just be aware of kind of two things. One, just when you're paying, make sure you have an invoice or something that you can track back, right? Pay with a credit card. If something goes bad, you go call your credit card company and tell them something happened and they'll refund you. And then the company that did the wrong thing, they're not going to battle you over that, right? So one, again, this is just me. Don't write with a check. Don't pay with a check. Don't pay with cash. Don't Zelle. Use a method of payment just like you'd buy from Amazon. Okay. Two, if a company is not willing to give you a price range over the phone, it's because they want to scare you into paying a lot more money than you need to. Brian, quick story. Our website isn't that great, but sometimes we get calls from other parts of the country, and we get a call from a lady, and she asks us what it would cost to do this thing. I go, well, you're not in our market. Your market's more expensive. So it's probably like 1.5 times what we charge. And so she had a broken spring. We're like $400 for a broken spring. This guy charged her $2,000. He told her that the springs on her door were German engineered and they were custom, but he happened to have 3 on the truck, just happened to have them. And he could get it done for her today if she paid today, and she Zelled the technician a couple grand. So garage doors are really bad about that. Garage doors and locksmiths, in fact, were the cause of Google. There was a garage door company. If you just Google it, you can find them. But they triggered like this change in Google's process for setting up ad accounts, because they would go to people's houses, they would charge them these exorbitant prices, and they wouldn't leave until they paid them, and they couldn't get out of their garage because it was broken. So just do your due diligence, call around, ask. I won't name names of specific companies because they change, and they can change names, and they do, and that's fine. But just do your due diligence, get a second bid. If it sounds weird or it just doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Maybe ask ChatGPT. Does this quote sound reasonable? Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So what we do is we list our prices on our service area pages. As far as I know, we're the only company in the country that does that. Those prices are the same for everybody. So, if somebody calls me or they call in, I just go look at that page and tell them the number, and tell them to use that as a measuring stick to someone else. But there are reasons that other people are more expensive, and we try to explain that as best as we can over the phone. But yeah, just pay attention.
Be anything we didn't cover that you wanted to talk to or share with the audience today?
So I think if you're going to be in home services, you have to know home services before you pick a genre. I talked to a guy the other day, search fund, MBA. He got an SBA loan to buy a fencing company. Well, the fencing company territory was so restrictive he couldn't make money. Fence replacement and remodel with residential is like one of the hardest things to do. And somebody would have known that if they knew home services. So before you go buy a stump grinder, or before you go buy a nailer, or before you go buy a diesel, just try to find a way to learn a little bit about the industry. Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard does an amazing job on the remodeling indexes. They do it by market, extremely packed with helpful information. Just get to know the market that you're going into. What is it they say? If you think someone's business is too good, you don't know enough about it. And so just get in there, try to live it, get a job in it. I think that's one thing I would say. And two, don't quit your 9 to 5 to go work in home services. Okay? Don't do that. Customers are going to call at night. They're going to call on the weekend. You're going to work more for longer periods of time for less money, unless you just have a golden goose, which most people do not. So just be aware of what you're getting yourself into. It takes time, and it takes longer than you think, and it costs more than you think. You can do it, but there's a lot of personal sacrifice and a lot of luck that has to happen along the way. So don't enter into it lightly. And I would just say that's broadly speaking for home services. I can't speak to other industries because I have never been in them, but home services, just do your diligence, take your time. It's not easy.
Bobby, good to know. Where can folks connect with you personally? Check out Dorvana. Let folks know where you're at on the web so they can get in touch or check out your business.
Yeah, so we own all of the handles for Dorvana across all the networks. We were fortunate there that that one wasn't taken. And then me personally, I'm most active on X at by Bobby Vickers. That's me. And if anybody knows why I can't register my actual name, which is available, I would love to know. I don't know who did that or who caused the problem, but that's where we are. Thank you, Brian. I
Bobby,
appreciate being on.
yeah, of course, Matt. Thank you for coming on. Have a good one.
You too, brother.